let's move on to somebody that might be taking an L. I don't know. J. Cole. J. Cole, his album The Fall Off that we all sat here and praised the day of its release. We sat here, present company excluded, but you praised it. You praised it too via text.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah. But so we were all on board with it. First time in Rap Cave history that we all are just like, you know what? This is a really good album. And it has a Metacritic score now so far, so that number can change, but I don't think it will change much, of 65 out of 100.
It just went up to 66 today.
Okay. Wow, there's a bump right there.
I just added 2 more reviews.
Right.
It's now 66, so it's just 1 point off.
So 66 out of 100, that's the average score a professional publication is giving. And so that makes it his lowest critically acclaimed album, or his lowest critical score of an album in his history. Second, ironically, is 2014 Forest Hills Drive at 67.
Yeah, the list is almost backwards in how the albums like should be. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think the off season should be the lowest, but the off season is rated the highest, I believe.
Yeah, the off season is the highest, but I just
with only a 76.
I want to ask: Are we missing something, or are they missing something? Because honestly, now that we've had a week now, we've had some time to sit with it. We did bring up its issues, you know, like what are the standout records that you're really going to be listening to for a very long time, all of those things that we had. But overall, we really liked it. How are we feeling about it now, 1 week later? Is your thoughts changed? Is it the same? Where are you at with it? I'll start with you, Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, since I wasn't here last week, I could just say, like everybody else on the panel, I fucking love the album. I thought it was a masterpiece in terms of J. Cole's, like, great way for him to culminate his career. And I've been listening to it, and I think after having some more time to sit with it, I found more nuance in it, certain things that I like, the way that he transitions. I thought it was a great album. I still have the same sort of, I guess, not beefs, but sort of nitpick portions of it that I would have had before, where I do think toward the middle and end of Disc 1, I can see where people can fall off a little bit, no pun intended, just because it gets a little bit slower. The themes kind of seem like they repeat a little bit in there.
Feels a little fluffy.
It feels a little like fluffed up there. But then he gets back into Disc 2 and then gets, like, you know, into his love of hip hop, and you're getting to like him and his girl, the love of hip hop, the what if with, you know, Tupac and Biggie, and then him talking about, you know, looking at other beefs that are similar, kind of relating the same thing. So the metaphor tracks all the way through Disc 2 better than it does Disc 1. That being said, I do not see how, unless you are skimming through and nitpicking, kind of just like listening to the intro parts or like skipping through certain parts of the track, which, I mean, again, a lot of these publications they have to get their reviews out. They try to get the reviews out early.
Yeah,
so if
we don't know who are the people that are. I mean, maybe it's listed on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is listed.
But like, as far as like us seeing the review, do we know that person's history and relationship?
Oh,
with
yeah,
J. Cole
yeah.
or
I
hip
get what
hop
you
as
mean.
a whole. You know.
I mean, yeah, just kind of a quick rundown. Clash gave it 90. Rolling Stone gave it a 70. Consequence gave it 67. Guardian gave it 60. Pitchfork 53, and then Slant Magazine was the lowest with 50.
I never remember a good Guardian review in my life.
Well, Guardian is and it's, you know,
I know what they are, but
I always I feel like the Guardian is always like my foil, because I always downgrade like British rappers because they all sound like Dr. Seuss rapping overseas to me. Yeah. And so I'm always going to give them lower than, and the Guardians, obviously being a British like publication, is always going to rate them super high. So
yeah,
I get it, but no, honestly, to me, this rating doesn't make sense. I know Metacritic is going through, and usually there are like 16, 17 reviews for their score. Right now, they're only at 8, and we're, you know, a full week in. So I'm expecting to see a couple more. Like I said, it bumped up a point, but then you go back to this. I think it's a critic thing. How is 2014 Forest Hills Drive only a 67?
But yeah, because that's the thing, is like, you also got to think that the person who rated that 10 years ago is not the person who's rating this today. I highly doubt it's the same person. You know what I mean? And like, look, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously, fuck what the critics say, whatever. And J. Cole has always had a tough time with critics. That's been the bulk of his career. He has never been critically acclaimed very highly. I mean, like, as far as actual this type of criticism goes, a lot of like deep hip hop, like actual hip hop based publications will, champion him or whatever, but he's not the like the Grammy darling that Kendrick is. He's not the worldwide sensation that Drake is.
He's not going to hit Pitchfork the same way he would if it was back in the magazine days when he was being rated by like Double XL and The Source.
Exactly. And so, like, I mean, first of all, I don't think it's us missing anything. I don't think it's them missing anything. I think that people went into this, if you're already a fan of J. Cole, this was going to satisfy you. If you had a reason to hate J. Cole, you're going to find a way to use this as leverage to continue to hate J. Cole. And I really think that it's weird because it seems like it should be the most non-polarizing album, but then it becomes polarizing,
Yeah, I think my review of it is that, at first I was like, they're tripping, man. Like, that's fucking crazy. And then look at Forest Hills Drive, like, because to me, that's the conversation for Cole's best album is The Fall Off and 2014 Forest Hills Drive. And now I thought about it, and because of what you said, it makes total sense. It makes total sense because this was such a J. Cole album that, again, it was on your expectations. Your score was on your expectations. It wasn't on anything else.
Yeah.
Like, if you were expecting him to come out with an album of 2014 Forest Hills Drive where it's all hits, then yeah, shame on you didn't get that. I shouldn't even say shame on you, but you'd be disappointed if you were like me coming into it saying I want high level raps and just J. Cole being J. Cole. Then you're satisfied. If you wanted J. Cole to explain more profoundly his feelings on Drake and Kendrick Lamar, you were disappointed. So it's whatever your expectation was is what it is going to impact your score. And it makes sense that these critics, again, there was a lot of public backlash for J. Cole with how he handled things. There's always been that divisiveness when it comes to J. Cole is he, and that'll be a conversation for next week. But, something that Sahai said that he said isn't really tied to J. Cole, but feels like it's tied to J. Cole. And the idea of this guy says a lot but nothing at the same time, and you don't really get a story. And I disagree with that, but that's beauty in the eye of the beholder. If you feel like
the metaphors, the transitions on this, the way he contextualized Kendrick and Drake right after doing the What If track about Tupac and Biggie. I mean, like, he's layered this album to me expertly, and I get it. It's a dense album, and on one listen through, and that's what I was saying for a lot of these reviewers are like, album comes out at midnight. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get the review in first publication in the morning, like 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So they're listening to it through one time. That's a lot of music to get through one time to understand even the broadest strokes of a concept.
Yeah, we said that because me and him listened to it together, and by the end we're like, oh, that's going to take a while. Like,
mm-hmm. And that's just what it is, man. Like I thought that, again, there's like what I love about it is there's like the love letter to hip hop element where there's so many hip hop driven samples and messages. I love and I can't relate to it yet, but I always aspire to relate to it. Is this album felt like the ultimate homecoming. It felt like he was talking to Carolina. Mm-hmm. He wasn't talking to us. He was talking to Fayetteville. That whole album, and as somebody that would love to be like the man the man of the city, the man of your hometown, like the hometown hero, like that is something that I see he's going for, and I think he completely achieved. Like with the rollout, with everything that he's done, the reception. Again, a lot of the music, the themes. Again, he has a record. This is some dude that none of us have ever fucking heard of.
Yeah, exactly.
Former NFL
but
player.
Because he's got some type of motion, in J. Cole's hometown, J. Cole noticed, and he addressed it on this album. And, like, that's what I'm saying. He spoke directly to it. He said he was never going to top this album after it. So I
think that this is the best.
This is what he wanted.
This is the best. J. Cole has been an artist that, in a good way, you know what you're getting from him. He's very Yeah, I won't say a one-trick pony by any means, but he's been extremely consistent throughout his whole career in sound, in the way that he has made it, like, through the years, kind of
Right.
progress that sound. And I think that this is the thesis of that in the best way possible, in the fact that, like, this is the best. If anybody in the world wanted to make a J. Cole album, like a J. Cole style album, this is the best version of a J. Cole styled album.
So I have a quick point. So the one I use that's been kind of more recently active than Metacritic is Album of the Year, and it does the same thing. It compiles critic scores and user scores and separates them. It has a massive database. I'm looking at it now. So the critical score is 69. So that sounds ballpark, like they've grabbed, and that's off of 10 reviews. Yeah, 10. And then off of 8,864 user reviews, it is an 81, which is his highest.
Right.
So like,
I think that plays to exactly what we're saying.
that shows it.
And
That's it. That's J. Cole. That sums it up perfectly.
And using Album of the Year, again, same thing where you have 79 for Forest Hills Drives, 69 for the critic score for Forest Hills Drive. So
Yep, same thing.
It's following that same line. Cole albums are not meant to be quickly consumed and repopulated by the critics. As fans, when we're not on that deadline, we have time to sit back and listen to this. I wasn't going to be good to rate this album last week. I could say I like it. I was going to be able to say, like, I think it's one of his best, if not his best. But I couldn't put it in a numerical rating last week. I needed some time to sit with it.
Right.